So NBA 2K22 MyTEAM, an interesting, I'm not even going to call it an interesting year. It was a year where I just felt, in general, looking back on it, that there was not too many super high points in the year, not too many super low points. But I will say, as far as just games working, it probably worked better than any MyTEAM mode, and that's probably the biggest compliment I'm going to give it. Not a bad middle to the year, not a bad start, not a bad middle, but the last season was absolutely horrendous. But lads, we're going to be talking about all of it, the highs, the lows. Get your popcorn out, this video is going to be well over an hour, lads. And also, lads, please subscribe, we're trying to get to 300k as soon as possible. But anyway, let's get on to it. So the pre-launch period actually in fact came very, very late to NBA 2K22. We actually got our first news in September, which was kind of crazy because the game was coming out on September the 9th, or September the 10th, which was absolutely nuts. Like, we genuinely heard nothing until the last week before the game. And for us, a lot of people were hyped on certain things. A lot of people got hyped on the gimmicks. There was a new draft mode, which actually ended up being very flawed. And a lot of people were hyped on the gimmicks of grading cards and holographic. And honestly, I'm not really going to blame them that much. I called it as it was in the first dev blog, they were gimmicks. But the big thing was that the 100 came out. TTO the 100, a basic concept that ruined an entire game mode for the vast majority of players. That was what I was really worried about. And I was really worried reading the dev blog that MyTEAM Unlimited and MyTEAM Limited were the same. So MyTEAM Limited had the same issue where if you miss 1 week out of 6, you basically may as well just give up the game. A lot of other, like, again, the shoe creator was an okay concept, but again, I felt it was a gimmick. Logos, I mean, about 3 solo MyTEAM guys got logos this year. But one thing I was really annoyed about was the draft. Because you guys can see from FIFA, if you guys have played any other mode, there's a clear way how to do the draft and how not to do it. How to do the draft is what every other game does, and how not to do the draft is what NBA 2K did in NBA 2K18. And they still have some obsession with not giving you an actual choice. So the draft basically became a random team mode. You had to pick 2 of every 3 cards you flipped. So it wasn't like a draft where you flipped 5 at the one time and picked 1. You had to flip every card individually. I don't understand what the purpose was. It made absolutely no sense. And basically they made pack and playoffs 2 instead of a draft mode because it wasn't. Then we got the game, well, the game launched, and Aiden Ross fired up stream before anyone was given the right to stream, before any embargoes were lifted. But because it was Aiden Ross and he had 50,000 people watching him, 2K then lifted the embargo on everybody. We saw straight away that we were getting some like half decent Dom rewards. Like Bob Cousy had been the 95 overall exchange reward from NBA 2K21, so we knew he was going to be alright. We knew Draymond is always a good card in early 2K. Again, his diamond was just God in NBA 2K20, so we were all very, very excited. So yeah, I was really happy. And then we saw the entire set for Colossal. We saw a lot of the new rookies. We then saw that there were so many, and I mean so many cards for collector level. Like every 50 cards you got something, which was cool because last year it was like 2,000 and 4,000. That was it. We saw the token awards. Were we that excited? Well, for me, just looking at this, I wasn't really. I knew the LL was going to be okay, but I wasn't the most excited about the Pink Time token awards. And then we were all just hawking Shake and Bake's Twitter, waiting for Shake to go and tweet things out because I had no idea who was streaming at this time. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning for me, and people were just streaming and posting a bunch of things. So yeah, it was an interesting kind of end period, and honestly, I was excited booting up MyTEAM. I was really, really excited booting up MyTEAM. So this was more so something that we hadn't seen in other years. The game worked at launch, and that's one of the big things that I want to give 2K props for, because this was the first time they were like, they literally shut down their support, their like live chat, because, well, they thought it was going to be overwhelmed. But this was the first time that a game really worked at launch. And that's one of the things I got to give 2K props for throughout NBA 2K22, is the game tended to work. Servers dropped at like less this year than ever before. We had less like game-breaking things wrong. Heck, like the biggest thing that I think we could say 2K just completely screwed up on was what they did last Friday, like 2-3 days ago, when they released a Luka Doncic card and they gave the complete wrong Luka card out as level 40 award. Other than that, I think it was a pretty solid year that actually started off on a half-decent note. So anyway, yeah, that is the pre-2K period. Now on to Season 1. So the game started off, and I, just like most people, started trying to do a lot of new things. I was looking for holo cards in the auction house, but I logged into this game very, very early. Had a New Zealand copy of the game. So yeah, there was nobody really online when I was online, so there was no real cards on the auction house. But one thing I did that a lot of people did was I graded cards. Something that I thought was somewhat cool, and then I realized that there was no actual look to it. I think a few of the cards I sent in to be graded, I scored 21 points on 100% shooting that one game. It was like, maybe that'll make a difference. Nope. Grading was random. And that was the biggest problem with this, is that first of all, grading just makes cards look ugly. Some people like it. It's cool if every card's graded, but if not, it makes them all look ugly. It makes the cool card out look smaller. And yeah, it was something that we were interested in the day it came out. And for me, this was a complete, and I mean complete, gimmick in my team. And then we saw the duos actually updated badges, and this was a really cool concept. So you saw like this duo being used by a lot of people, the Steph Curry and Iguodala duo, especially because Steph was the only player that could Curry slide in this game. So you were looking at like Steph suddenly getting goal, limitless range, and in a time where badges were kind of just hard to come by and expensive, this actually was really, really cool. This made duos probably bigger than they had ever been, and even though the potential was there for duos to be great, they really didn't make the most of it as the year went on. Wilt Chamberlain was the reward for MyTEAM Unlimited. At this stage, you still needed to go 12-0 in Galaxy Opal with SBMM, but one of the good things was the SBMM had not been established on day one. So I know a lot of people that in the first 2 days before anyone's SBMM really got set, anyone played enough games to really get pushed into high SBMM, they got Wilt fairly easily. Wilt was kind of epitomized early game. Shooting didn't matter too much, although it was a lot easier to shoot than NBA 2K21. Even Gold Darvin Ham was chick, but it was a big game of mashing and interior bigs dominated. So, in general, the game launched with one of the most broken modes I have ever played, TTO the 100. Were the rewards good for going up the boards? Sure, yes they were. But the rewards were no better, for example, than TTO in NBA 2K21. And the big issue, they were like, oh, we want everyone to get a reward even if they lose all their games in TTO. But you got one ball drop total if you lost all your games in this new concept. But in this new concept, if you lost a nail biter 27 to 25, if you were in a really close game, it was significantly worse than losing a game 21-0. If you went down 22-21, or somebody hit a shot to score 23 points on you, you had to quit the game. You had to quit the game before the score registered because you would only lose 21 points. Winning and losing did not matter in this game mode. All that mattered is how many points you conceded. So if you faced off against a guy who wasn't very good at the game, you had to beat that guy 21-0. If they even scored 2 points, you would get angry. Again, I think my record while the 100 was a thing at one stage was 37-1. And I used to get so angry playing this game. It's the closest I've ever been. I've thrown a controller once. Thank God I didn't break it because I threw it against a chair. I've thrown a controller once in my life, and it was after winning a game 21-2 after being 19-2 up, or being 19-0 up, and I could only concede 1 point. My opponent chucked the full court shot and it went in, and I nearly smashed my controller. Like, that was how just annoying it was. The draft mode was one of the modes where it was like, I actually enjoyed the draft mode anytime I played it. And there were a couple of reasons why I like draft mode. First of all, no SBMM, which was very, very fun. Because of SBMM, the people that like are in high SBMM, when you go into a no SBMM mode, it's just torching people. I thought the rewards were really good for playing the draft. I made a lot of MT in my 30-day series through the draft. And one thing, again, that I thought about it was like, once I accepted that it's not a real draft mode, that like you don't actually really get a choice in your team, you just have to pick 2 of 3, and oftentimes, or in almost every time, there's no choice. You just pick their obvious choices every single time. So I kind of enjoyed playing mode. I think it was a garbage mode, and I stand by it. Like, it is the worst draft mode we've ever seen. Actually, second worst. Pack and Playoffs was the worst draft mode, but this was more like Pack and Playoffs 2.0. This was Pack and Playoffs, except you had a bench instead of just a starting lineup. So it was a slightly better version of Pack and Playoffs 2K18. It was still a terrible draft mode as a draft mode, but in terms of gameplay, I did kind of enjoy it as the year went on. Then to start off the year, we did get the Colossal Packs, and the annoying thing was for me is that, like, yeah, these Colossal Packs were great, but like, these Sapphires were better than the vast majority of Amethyst Day 1 cards. So like these promo cards were better than almost all the base set cards, and that shouldn't be the case on day one. We shouldn't get a promo card on day one, regardless of what tier they are, that are better than like an Amethyst, that are better than all the other cards. Like the rubies, that freaking Dame Lillard was by far better than any of the point guards that you could get in the game, by far. I mean, like Goatmere Godson might have been like similar, but like that Dame was the best offensive player in the game, period, because Dame Lillard behind the back at that stage was what Scotty behind the back is now. They then went and patched that. So there was a Shaq card that a lot of people really liked. The only issue was that his stamina was about 15. He got Gatorade symbol in 2.5 minutes, but he was the only player to set screens, because at this stage in the game you couldn't connect on a screen. And then there was also a Luka Doncic event card. IJ Josh was the first person to get him. We all thought this card was a bum. I'm not gonna lie, we all thought he was a bum. No one realized that Luka couldn't be contested on next gen for quite a while, and everyone who used him on current gen was like, this guy's release is absolutely worthless. Everyone who used him on next gen was like, oh, this guy just doesn't move right, he's a bum. But no, if we'd known that, we all would have got him. Then we got some really good cards from RNG. We got Ron Boone for TT Offline, who was really good. We got what's his name, Glenn Robinson for the draft, who was really good. And we also got Gus Gerard, who was one of the best power forwards in the game. These three cards were really good. The problem is they were RNG, and you weren't guaranteed getting them. The most one of the people got was Gus. A lot of people had him. And then there was Kyrie Irving. As far as token awards went, while Serge Ibaka was by far the best of the token awards, and Kyrie Irving may not have even been the best Amethyst, he just moved better than anyone else. And a lot of people cooked with Kyrie Irving. A lot of really good players scored a lot of their points. I remember playing against JB, and he torched me with Kyrie Irving. And you guys can see there a rare clip of the Kyrie Irving behind the back before it was patched. That behind the back wasn't too bad, and now Kyrie Irving's behind the back is literally one of the worst behind the backs in the game. Then we have our Domination Awards. For me, by far the best of these is Bob Pettit, a guy who was in my squad till like literally November. But I think Bob Cousy was a nice card as well. I think Draymond, especially early on in the game, was good. I think TJ Warren was someone who had really good stats but sucked in game. Richie Garren was alright, and Jamal Wilkes, man, that card just sucked. Let's not talk about Jamal Wilkes. Then they announced primetime packs. These were packs that were released at a completely different time. 4 p.m. Eastern time, primetime. I assumed that this concept didn't work out well because they scrapped it after Season 2, but I went into panic mode because I thought every pack was going to be released then, which would have been awful for me. And a few days later, we got the Shooting Mutombo. 2K basically said, you know what, 1 week into the game, screw realism, we're going to make Dikembe Mutombo a shooter. Yeah, and I mean that. They literally made a Shooting Dikembe 1 week into the game in what was one of the most overpowered drops we have ever seen. So first of all, that gold Joe Ingles, if you didn't Evo, was one of the best gold cards in the game. You got a ridiculously OP Duncan Robinson for his time because he had a god tier shot and he had a release on quick. You had Darius Miles, who was one of the best small forwards in the game, period. James Worthy, who was super effective because post spinning was so good in that game, in the game at this time, and he could do it. He had goal post spin. You had Fred VanVleet, who was one of the better point guards in the game. You had Kawhi, who was the best lock in the game. You had D-Rose, who still had the D-Rose left-right before the left-right was patched. And then big Dikembe Mutombo, who was by far, he was literally just Will Chamberlain with a jump shot. This will go down for me as one of the best batches of cards for the year. Just kind of forgotten about because of how early it was, but every card here was good except for Peja, who sucked. Peja was awful. And then Aiden Ross. Why is Aiden Ross on screen? Aiden Ross went and played MyTEAM, and he spent a grand total of $1,500. $1,500 for Derrick Rose, and never got Derrick Rose. He never got him. He got multiple Dikembe Mutombos, who was more expensive than Derrick Rose, but he spent $1,500 specifically on a Derrick Rose and didn't get him. So that basically, again, for me, it just sums up the way my team was. Like, people really were not happy. People were really not happy. And for me, I don't think buying packs early in the year is smart. I actually really think that is one of the least smart things you can do. There's no need to buy packs. Early in the year especially is where you can more than survive if you're no money spent. But Aiden Ross summed it up, like, start of the year, not even getting a diamond in $1,500, which is nuts. Absolutely crazy. Then we got the next Monday, a really interesting concept that we never saw after Season 1. I really liked it. So it was the Lifetime Agenda Awards, and you basically got 3 different versions of Darryl Griffith. So you got the Emerald, then you had to do a bunch of things with the Emerald to get a Ruby, and then you had to do a bunch of things with the Ruby to get the Diamond. So basically, it was like an Evo card, but you got different cards along the way. A little bit like what FIFA did it did it more so in FIFA 21. It was a really cool concept. I really wish we saw more of it. And this Darryl Griffith card was one of the better 2 guys in the game. He was easily in like the top 6 or 7 shooting guys in the game, because he had that base 40 release. He dunked really well. He was a good defender. Didn't come with a lot of badges though. It was a bit of a problem. Didn't even come with like quick first steps, so you did have to give him some badges, but he was again a really nice card, and it was a cool concept. Then we got Signature Series. So these cards in game were, I mean, they were meh, they were okay. But the big thing was that this Larry Bird card, we all thought when we saw Original Owner, we thought there was going to be some like event for him. So we knew he came from events. We knew that much. And we thought that when we heard event cards, we were like, oh my god, event, they're going to be like, you're going to be able to grind for Larry Bird this week. It's going to be the coolest thing ever. So we all were fully expecting this Larry Bird card to be like grindable. And we were all super excited. And then it turned out that the event was literally just cards in packs. It was an event card that you could buy. You couldn't earn any of these event cards, which was extremely annoying. Not a single person was happy with this. And literally throughout the year, there was not a single as far as I'm aware, you couldn't earn event cards for any players except for the mural for Vince Carter. That was the only earnable event card. Then we got ML Carr and Ron Harper and Louis Dampier. ML Carr was a complete lockdown defender. He replaced Gus. I actually think that was a very good player to replace Gus with, even though Gus was probably better. ML was a beast. And then we got Louis Dampier. I don't know why I'm reading it as Ron Harper. Louis Dampier replaced Ron Boone. Ron Boone was a beast. Louis Dampier was a scrub. He was terrible. He could not play. He was a bona fide scrub. He was so bad. Later on that week, 2K advertised that they were going to be giving us Dunktober packs. They were like September to Dunktober, and we were like, okay, what are they going to give us in the packs? They then showed Dirk, and we're like, dominate with the dunking Deutschmann. I have never heard of a German being referred to as a Deutschmann before. I've heard that as a surname. I've never actually heard. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but basically I thought that there was going to be some sort of like Evo concept where you could Evo Dirk Nowitzki into being a dunker. They also advertised that there was going to be like multiple pink diamonds. So like I was there like kind of expecting Dirk to have like a high dunk rating. But it turned out that no, Dirk Nowitzki had like a 45 dunk. They were giving us 3 pink diamonds, which was kind of crazy because at this stage in the game, I don't think we had seen a pink diamond in packs. So I never felt like there was a reason why we had to go from no pink diamonds in packs to 3 in 1 pack. Dunktober was here. Not a great pack, to be honest. Like Donovan Mitchell and Josh Smith were the 2 best until we found out about the god that was Dunktober Jokic, but we didn't figure out about him for a while. Kareem was okay. Vince could shoot. Vince was chick. Kobe was alright. The only problem was I don't understand. Like most of these guys couldn't dunk. It was really confusing. Like Giddey wasn't a good dunker. Schroeder literally couldn't dunk in game. I never understood why this was called Dunktober. Like a bunch of these guys literally could not dunk. Level 40 Pink Diamond Melo came out. I think Cobra Phenom was the first person to get this card. And Melo was just really solid. Like he was a card that you could legitimately use till Season 3, Season 4 as a cone. He wasn't like the be-all and end-all best player in the game when he came out. It wasn't like he was just absolutely like torching people, but he was good. We got limited warm-up rewards throughout this season. Again, like we got them in Season 1, we got them in Season 2. I'm not really going to overhype. I think we even got him in Season 3, but some of them were good. Like Corey Kispert was really good for his time. But that was really it. Like that's it. Dennis Smith Jr. was good, but these really weren't great. Flash 2 then came out. Anthony Davis, Isaiah Thomas, who was by far the best point guard in the game. And a lot of good cards. Like even this Jay Crowder was a nice 3&D card. Tyrese Halliburton could move a little bit with Shifty. I didn't like Dominique. Scotty was a beastly defender. And this was after they patched Scottie Pippen's behind the back to turn it into what used to be Dame, which is aka Pro 3. AD was a card that I didn't like because he couldn't rebound, but a lot of people really liked him. So we got a lot of really good cards in this batch as well. And then we got what I thought was the coolest concept was if you won 5 eliminate games, you got James Harden. You got James Harden himself. This was one of the best cards period in this game. In my opinion, probably the best shooting guard in all of my team. He was just tough to stop. He had like the Harden shuffle. He had unblockable dunks. He had his release, even though it was on normal timing, it was still not easy to stop. There was a reason why people were so hyped on that like Opal Harden and the Diamond Harden. And this card was basically, the only difference between this card and the Diamond Harden was that the Diamond Harden had like, every badge of this card had like silver, the Diamond had gold. And you couldn't, this was like a 2K20 card where you couldn't add badges to him at all. So like every other glitch card could get any badge in the game. Like that was the thing with glitch cards. Oh, you can give them any badge in the game, but like he was a glitch card. You couldn't give him any, which was the complete opposite. But this Harden for free card was a ridiculously good free card, and something that again I wish we got more of on Fridays. Just grind for a card. They then went and released limited edition, which was like guaranteed pink diamonds. They said that there was going to be like 6 inserts throughout the weekend. There was going to be 8 total pink diamonds, which again was kind of crazy because at this stage in the game we had 4 pink diamonds. Like there was either 4 or maybe 5 pink diamonds. I think maybe one of the Tuesdays had a pink diamond, but you were getting pretty much doubling, even nearly trebling the total count of pink diamonds in the game, well, auctionable pink diamonds in the game, from just these 1 packs. Then to end the season, we did go and get our limited reward. And this is another one where it's like, just like Luka Doncic, had we just known how glitchy Devin Booker was. Like Devin Booker was one of those players that like nobody really used. He didn't have great stats, didn't have great badges, but everyone's getting cooked by him. He couldn't play any defense, but what Devin Booker could do is he just had this really quick release, and he just became really hard to contest. So this is the first player that we were like, we don't understand why this guy is so hard to guard. Like he shouldn't. He couldn't really dribble. He had a release that a lot of other players had, but he was just tough to stop. I got him on my account, and I felt that he was a pretty good card. I didn't really use him that much. I didn't really use him in my squad because he couldn't play defense. I prefer like using an ML card, but I got cooked so many times by this Devin Booker, and I know a lot of people got cooked by Devin Booker. He was just that effective in game. Was he that great at anything other than just shooting glitchy shots? Not really, but he was good at that. We then got another one of the lifetime agenda cards in Daryl Dawkins. Sorry, not Daryl Dawkins, DeAndre Jordan. We got DeAndre Jordan, who was easily a top 5 center in the game because you didn't need to shoot at the center position, and that was the one thing he couldn't do. He couldn't shoot at all, but he was basically like almost identical stats to Wilt with a worse player build, and for free this guy was a damn beast. Now we are on to Season 2, the dev blog. Literally the only things that I cared about were the fact that they had changed Unlimited, so that you'd no longer have to go 12-0, you had to go 12-4, which is a really cool concept. Yeah, the SBMM completely tightened up. If you guys played this mode, you guys know Season 2 was the worst for SBMM. And they also changed 100, which was huge. Sure, there was new domination. Sure, there were a few gimmicks, but for Season 2, those big things were the biggest changes. They launched Season 2 with the current Series 2 set. Again, or current set. Not a great set of cards. And that's one of the things that I'm disappointed about. Like, 2K can very easily make these cards good by just making them the equivalent of their... Maybe the equivalent, just give them a few gold badges, give them a few half badges. These cards always suck. I don't understand why. There's no reason. Like, I understand them not being as good as promo cards, but they don't need to suck as much as they do. Like, they didn't suck this badly in like 2K19. Heck, they weren't even this bad when they were like Sapphires in 2K18. Then we got a signature series drop for Curry. I felt that this was one of the most disappointing drops of the year. Again, they gave us a Dwight Howard that was an event card. What was the event? Open packs for cards. Rewards wise, the lower rewards weren't the greatest in my opinion. I genuinely didn't feel that. Like, there were some good cards, obviously, and again, Impact Jaylen Brown was pretty good. Nothing really on the way to level 40 I felt was good at all, but we did get Paul Silas, who was a beast. The only issue was that he was as rare as Terry Dishiger, and no one ended up getting him. Gary Payton was the best unlimited reward we had maybe seen since NBA 2K20's Glenn Rice. And then Kevin Garnett was a good level 40. I didn't like him, but no, he was a really, really good card. A lot of people had a lot of success with him. While I wasn't the biggest fan, he was good. We then got a kind of gimmick thing, but it was cool, the player coaches. It would have been funny if Allen Iverson had been like dressed like this out on the court. That would have been cool. But player coaches were in the game. Were they something that mattered? No. Was it an interest? Was it a gimmick? Yes. Was it an interesting gimmick? Sure. I'm not going to complain about it. The video on it got me a lot of views, so I can't complain. Showdown rewards came out, and my god, they were worse than anyone thought. So a lot of people thought you were going to get actually good rewards for Showdown. Sure, you got 15,000 XP for Season 3, which at that time, 15,000 XP really, really mattered. Like 15,000 XP from like Season 5 onwards was nothing, but that really did matter for Season 3. And then after Showdown, we got a lot of other just nothings. Like Donovan Mitchell I'm pretty sure everyone got Donovan Mitchell or another Amethyst. Like, they couldn't even give a diamond out. Like, I thought they should have given a pink diamond out for Showdown, not gonna lie, but they couldn't even give a diamond. It was a freaking Season 1 Amethyst was the player card. So Showdown was, for me, a massive, massive disappointment. I felt that there was absolutely no reason for anyone to do Showdown unless they really did just enjoy grinding the game to grind the game. Sure, you got 2 extra half badges, but, I mean, they weren't worth that much. They then released NBA Moments cards into the game through the Primetime packs, which was a kind of interesting concept. Again, one of these Moments cards is 27,000 MT right now, but Primetime kind of got a little bit of a boost. A lot of more people were opening those packs because of the Moments cards, which did make it kind of interesting. They released masked cards for Halloween. Again, a gimmick. And this is one of the things I have with this year, is that nearly all the things they did were gimmicks. And if you're someone that really likes these type of gimmicks, then more power to you. Like, things like grading cards, putting masks on cards, signature signed, putting a signature on a card, making the same card twice. Power Within, making the same card twice. Like, so much of this year has just been gimmicks. And I've not been a big fan of the just gimmickification of MyTEAM without actually changing anything to the mode, just throwing gimmicks at us and hoping we like them. A lot of people did like the mask concept, and I think that might just be me. So then this was a really cool concept that I wish they did more of. So we got essentially Moments cards. Basically, if they hit a certain thing, they ended up getting an Evo. So the only thing with Tyler Hero was that neither of these guys had Evos. Tyler Hero hit 3 3-pointers in the first quarter and none in the last 3. And then Deandre Jordan didn't even play that night. Then we ended up getting NBA 75th players. We thought we had a vote, so we were really looking forward to voting for Giannis. Turns out that we had to vote for someone completely different, and in fairness, we did get Seti, so we got some good cards. This pack drop was god tier. So again, releasing 75 and Flash David Robinson, basically making them the exact same card. I don't see the purpose of that. They should have just released them as a 75th card in these Flash packs. I don't get it. Again, another kind of gimmick. But Eric Snow was a beast. Ha-Sung Jim was a beast. Trey Young, Newman used him at 250. Clay was maybe the best player in the game. And that D-Rob was the best center in the game till after Christmas. So a really good batch of cards here. This Clay Thompson, man, he ran the show. D-Rob was probably the best player in the game at this time. But Clay Thompson was just by far the best of any 2-guard. Because he could dunk, he could move, he could run. He had a release on quick timing, which was super rare for that time. He had shifty dribble style. And shifty dribble style didn't matter too much back then because the left-right was still a thing. So the moves that make shifty really bad now weren't basically used because he was still left-right. They then released a huge batch of Moments cards early enough in November. But this was kind of the issue with Moments cards, was that they had hyped up the, promo cards had been so hyped that a Moments batch was really not worth anything. None of these cards other than Rubio were worth anything, and even Rubio wasn't that good at that. So they can release all these Moments, but no one's going to get hyped because the cards just in general were not the greatest. We then got guaranteed pink diamond packs, again limited edition. A lot of people were excited about them, but for me it was a limited edition was just kind of there to be there. I can't even remember who was in this second batch. It mattered that little. I think Jordan was one of the players maybe. But we also, somebody leaked that 2K were putting in Moments super packs, and these packs actually didn't come out for ages, which meant that everyone was selling their Moments cards for super packs that never came. They then went and released another Flash pack. Again, a really, really good weekend. We got a lot of free cards this weekend, so it seemed like most of the times they were releasing Flash, they were releasing something free. We got a bunch of win streak players. And again, the annoying thing was that there's no point when you're releasing 75th cards, releasing 2 of the same cards. I just didn't like that concept. But we got win streak cards, which you didn't even need to win the games. If you just shut up, you got the cards. I didn't like the win streak concept because not everyone, I don't understand not everyone should get a reward, but I think there should be a reward where if you put in time, you should get the reward anyway. If you play 40 games, you should automatically get the reward even if you can't win 5 in a row in that 40 games. They then just in-game randomly released a MyTEAM festival. We were halfway through day 1 when they called it a MyTEAM festival. And I'm telling you, nobody even realized that there was anything going on. The biggest thing that happened this week wasn't even announced. This was apparently meant to be a MyTEAM festival. Nobody could care less. It was a bunch of stuff that we were already meant to have seen just in a normal week. it was just not, it wasn't even a good week of content. It was just a week where they announced content, calling it a festival, and it wasn't even that great a week, especially things that were advertised. We then also got like a Terry Rozier. So the first Moments Agenda card, they gave us so many in 2K21. The first and only, I repeat, only regular Moments Agenda card before Moments of the Month came out was Terry Rozier. He was terrible. He was terrible. I got him, but he was terrible. Then on the Wednesday, yes, Wednesday of this week, they released Mystic Packs. Because Thanksgiving was on a Thursday, they wanted to release Mystic Packs. This was the most juiced pack drop of the year. The Sapphires were god tier, freaking Simvular, Isaac, Troy Daniels. The Rubies gave us the GOAT OJ Mayo and Wang Zhizhi. The big Wang was unstoppable. DeJounte was good. Dino was fine. Eddie Jones was a beast, one of the few players in the game with half interceptor. Drazen Petrovic had half range extent. He was the first player in the game to have that. Harden was beast. Giannis was a very, very good power forward. T-Mac was meh. And Hakeem was a great lock-in. So, even, like, I didn't really like Giannis, but this was an incredibly good batch of cards. The Friday then came and Ja Morant came out. This was the last Friday of the season, so obviously the limited reward is going to be out on that day, which was Ja Morant, who was a super, super interesting card, because if he had come out at the start of the season, he would have been a beast, but like Payton just completely outclassed him. I had Ja and Payton as my 2-point guards for a while. Didn't really like Ja, loved Payton, but it wasn't bad by any means. Then on the Friday, unannounced to everybody, they released these Black Friday packs for one day. And everyone's like, okay. They've got like these really, really good super packs with like all the best cards. And they weren't, as far as super packs went, they were okay price-wise. And they were actually, like in comparison to other cards, the odds were really, really good. But then throughout the day, they released so many packs. It was like guaranteed flash packs, guaranteed diamond and pink diamond packs. They released so many just ridiculously good packs for like 1 hour. So all the other packs were like limited to 10,000. And they all sold out in like 20 minutes. They all sold out so fast. And the biggest of all of these was the guaranteed pink diamond packs. So these packs with 35,000 VC, like Zion, you saw him here. They were only available for 1 hour, but no, these packs were gone in 20 minutes. They were gone so quickly. You got all the limited edition players, and what did they do? They basically pushed a bunch of them, like a bunch of the like bad pink diamond cards down to like 30,000 MT. It was crazy how cheap they all were. Like pink diamonds had been 100k MT before this day. They were down to like 30-40k for like 5 or 6 of them, which was really, really mad. And right before the end of Season 2, 2K went and patched the side to side. Again, I can't really show any clips of me really using it too much because I was never the greatest dribbler. But it's something that I just wanted to note, that a lot of cards became instantly worse because 2K patched the ability to left, right, well, to laterally burst in the game. Season 3 came out with a dev blog, and again, there was not much said in the blog. Clutch Time was the big new addition. A lot of it was talking about like, oh, we're going to be giving some more player coaches. This is who your level 40 is. And we really weren't excited. Because while Clutch Time was a great game mode, I mean, freaking Iverson was the level 40 reward. But there were some good cards that did come out in Season 3. But this game mode was what I felt really changed the game. My game mode of choice, the game mode that I enjoy playing the most. Because, well, if I'm not having fun, I can just... It's only like 2 minutes in a game. I don't need to sit through half an hour for a game. If I want to play for 20 minutes, I can play 2 games of this. If I don't have an hour to sit there and play 2K, I can actually go and play Clutch Time. Whereas if you don't have an hour to sit there and play, you can't really play unlimited. You just don't know how long it's going to take to like find games and stuff. A really great new addition into the game mode. So then we got probably the worst pack drop ever. We got maxed out where a bunch of people got 99s in stats that were already going to get 99s in. So Ray Allen got 99 3-pointer. I'm pretty sure he already had a card in the game with like a 96 3-pointer. Aaron Gordon got a 99 dunk, and so did Wiggins. Both of them had cards in the game with 95 plus dunks. You had Aaron Gordon, or saying not Aaron Gordon, you had Alex Caruso got 99 pass perception. Like really. Dikembe with 99 block. His Ruby had like 94. We get 99 free throw JJ Redick. A card that will never get to the free throw line having a 99 free throw. Made no difference. I think there was a lot of other weak players. This is the worst, and I repeat, worst pack drop we have ever had in my team. And yeah, it was awful. It was awful. Reward card wise, we got some really, really good ones, lads. Like, This set, like, even Dan Murray for limited was good. Drummond for draft was okay. Didn't really like the unlimited reward, but Collins was great. Reward for tokens. Cliff Robinson was a beast for 750 wins in TTO. Like, Iverson was a terrible level 40 though. My god, Iverson was terrible. Like, even CJ McCollum was not bad, like, on the way to level 40 though. So rewards wise, I liked it. I liked the clutch time rewards. I liked a lot of the rewards in this game, or in this season. I didn't find it to be a bad season at all. I know a lot of people didn't like season 3 at all. I didn't think it started off too badly. Like, Michael Red was a freaking beast. He was like Ray Allen, but 10 times better. Like, Ray Allen had come out didn't even have half range extender, didn't even have his release on quick or anything. But like, Michael Red had Ray Allen release. He was taller, he was a better dribbler, he could play defense better, and he had half range extender. So like, Michael Red is what that Ray Allen card in maxed out should have been. He was freaking him when he came out. Obviously, getting him now in clutch time is not going to be a great card, but he was him when he came out. But the market actually shot up. Cards that were going for like 250k were suddenly going for 500k. Like, cards went from being somewhat expensive to very expensive. And like, there were cards like Penny Hardaway that I remember buying for 30k MT at the end of season 2, because a lot of people sell their cards before the end of the season, and the maxed out drop was so bad. It was so bad that like within 4 or 5 days that card was 80k. I was making so much MT off just selling my cards then. They actually scrapped the primetime concept and just released NBA 75 cards with moments. And I say NBA 75 with moments because you can see this is like 7th of December. I think this is the last ever. This might be the last time 2K released moment cards. I think they released Kevin Durant by himself, but like 2K just stopped. They straight up just stopped releasing moments cards in this game. And then the UK and Ireland page ended up leaking the iced out packs. Basically, they posted a wrong graphic. You guys can see that they posted a graphic of the packs that were I just went over. However, they completely forgot to, or they put in the wrong like press release, and they leaked what the iced out packs were. A few days later, 2K talking about the NBA 75 set during these packs actually mentioned Reggie Miller and Charles Barkley. We all went crazy, thought they were in the game, and the next day they took this part out of their write-up, which was disappointing. It was extremely disappointing. Iced out packs came out, and while they were significantly better than maxed out, they were again not great. Other than Dr. J, this is a very weak batch of cards. Like, 2K just in general were not in a good spot at the minute. When Steph Curry broke the 3-point record, they gave a bunch of agendas for one Hall of Fame badge, instead of doing what they did when Russell Westbrook broke the triple-double record, by giving Russell Westbrook like an Evo card where you got a bunch of triple doubles, or you made a bunch of threes with Steph Curry, and you suddenly were able to get him up to maybe even a 93 overall. I didn't even expect them to give us a pink diamond for Steph. I just wanted like a diamond Steph, or I just wanted some acknowledgement of Steph and Curry in this game. But there was a big issue with that, and this is one of the problems that I have with 2K, is they're so based around their promo cards that when something happens in real life, they can't do anything about it. So when you see a card that has a god tier game in real life, or again, things like all-star moments, when we saw Cade Cunningham get an absolute scrub card, we knew we were going to get a better Cade Cunningham card. And that's one of the issues with this, was that Steph Curry did something historic in the NBA. But because 2K had planned on Christmas Day to give us a Steph Curry card, they didn't want to give us any sort of free Steph Curry. They didn't want to give us a moment Steph Curry. They didn't really want to acknowledge it by a card in the game, which is why I really don't like certain things they do with the promos. So then coming in to the middle of December, we got a Domination. And this Domination was Homecoming Dom. We got significantly less tokens than we got for NBA 75 Dom. We got basically the same amount of packs. We didn't get very much. And we got a Manu card who, although I loved Manu, like most people hated this Manu card. I was his #1 fan. I'm going to still say this Domination was the worst Domination. The least worth of Domination we have had, other than maybe like the Harden Dom. I don't think the current Dom for Harden was worth it at all. But like, this Dom wasn't even easy. That was the worst part. Oh, I thought it was on half. Well, no, it was pretty easy then. It was pretty easy. But then we got Hoopsmas, which was a joke. Oh my god, Hoopsmas was a joke. So last year during Hoopsmas, we got like the MyTEAM Festival, which was a day where 2K gave out a bunch of locker codes, a bunch of free content, a bunch of grindable content, a bunch of things in packs. It was really cool to start Hoopsmas. And then the rest of the Hoopsmas was just like free packs we didn't really care too much. But this year's Hoopsmas packs, instead of giving us like guaranteed players, all it did was give us like candy canes, which traded in for presents. And if you didn't get enough candy canes, like candy canes were worthless. You needed like 4 candy canes to get a present, and presents could be exchanged for goods. And if you only got 3 candy canes, the 3 candy canes were worthless. You had to just sit there and discard them, or just send them into the exchange to get nothing out of them. It was the worst event we have ever had on my team. You see a diamond contract there? Yeah, we had 1 diamond contract code. It was terrible. Then we got a really actually good batch of cards. The Signature Series packs for Kobe Bryant. So Magic Johnson was the first point guard in the game that really allowed you to use the switch all meta on defense, which really just, I'm not going to say it ruined the game, but it made it a lot harder to score when you were just able to X-switch everything. Draymond Green was a freaking beast for what he was. And we got the first instance of a Trey Murphy clone. So Brandon Jennings, despite being one of the shiftiest point guards in the league, had the stakes of a big man. He couldn't dunk, but he had all the big man dunk animations. Trey Murphy clone Brandon Jennings. And then for some reason you were able to buy DeMarcus Cousins on the auction house when he came out. I just don't get it, but you were. Like, it was actually cheaper to buy him in the auction house than lock in the event cards for him, which was hilarious because you could sell him. Like, anyone who bought one of these 5 or 6 could sell the card because he wasn't an original owner. And then every now and again you'll see one of these popping up. Allen Iverson was the level 40 reward, and I mean, yeah, he was an opal. I get it. The guy was an opal. He was the first Galaxy opal in the game for the vast majority of people. Allen Iverson sucked. Allen Iverson was genuinely awful. Like, I wish I got him. I wish I could say he was good. He was terrible. He was awful, lads. Then the Christmas Day packs came out, and Santa BG was out in full force going over these cards. Again, I really liked what they did, like giving us a good Scotty, a good Michael Jordan card. I hated the NBA 75th concept. There was 5 of them this day because they basically just gave us duplicates of the same cards. Rudy Gay was the best card for his price in my team at 60k, and LeBron was okay. Steph Curry was pretty good. The rubies and stuff were terrible in the set though. Right after that was actually, this was my first day living in my new house, but the bots then came out. So Aaron Gordon and John Wall were in like the vault and the wheel, and on the vault, wheel, and ball drops. So the auto buyers bought so many of these cards that they were literally putting up hundreds of them at the same time for 2.5k. This is how I made so much MT. I think I had 100 Aaron Gordons in my auction house at one stage, sold them off for 4k like a week later. So 2K had a disaster of a season 3. So the devs basically didn't release any moments cards for a month. They took probably 3 weeks off to just release like pre-planned content. And with it being around Christmas, people weren't happy, and like rightfully so. Understandable, again, the devs took time off, but we didn't know. We didn't know for quite a while. And then 2K stole my idea word for word, bar for bar. They took my Moments of the Month idea for their comeback, and in fairness, they implemented it well. Moments of the Month was a really interesting concept. However, Max Strus, I'll talk about that a little bit later. That one card was interesting. But we ended up getting a Opal DeMar DeRozan who was terrible. Like, DeMar DeRozan needed like 18 badges to be good. He didn't have any of the key badges. He didn't have any of the good ball handling badges or shooting badges or defensive. I don't know why he was so bad, but he was. Best card in this set by far was like Jaylen Brown. There were way better cards in this moment set than DeRozan, but I don't know, they just really did not make him good. I think I added some badges to him and he still was not the greatest card in the world. And then the Max Strus situation. So his challenge was so hard to do that they basically changed his release from set shot 4 to base 4, his 3-point challenge, and they gave every card in the game who had set shot 4 base 4. And funnily enough, with Steve Kerr, they gave him base 4 on his base card, but he had an Evo card, and when you Evo'd Steve Kerr, he actually got changed back to set shot 4. He's the only player in history to get an Evo downgrade in my team. So Season 4 launched with a pretty decent dev block. Again, with how bad Season 3 was, it kind of had to launch well. It talked about how there was going to be a lot of change in the game mode, as well as the fact that it was going to, well, he'd be celebrating Year of the Tiger. I thought it was going to be a lot more Lunar New Year content. But in terms of rewards, Yao Ming was available day 1, which was actually kind of big. We got some pretty decent rewards. Reggie Lewis was the main one. But in terms of like signature series cards, it was an okay batch. Like Kevin Durant was really good, Klay Thompson was really, really good. But this Klay, surprisingly enough, didn't have half quick first step. So you were seeing guys still running his diamond until they could find a badged up Klay, because the diamond was better than the opal until he got badged up. Kazi was also a freaking beast. The only issue was he was RNG. And we got ISO Joe for the first time, which was cool. Again, you guys can see here, 150k XP was available straight away, and Grossi got him first. So then we had the Tuesday packs where they got rid of the 75 concept. There wasn't a guarantee to be an NBA 75 card in every Tuesday pack now. And guys like Donovan Mitchell were headliners. It was kind of cool. Each of them were a theme. I don't exactly know what cold-blooded meant, but like we got like defenders in some packs. We got dunkers in other packs. It was kind of a cool concept in my opinion. However, 1 week into Season 4, we got the freaking be-all and end-all packs. We got beasts. A set which gave us the 5000 MT, Josh Smith, Darius Miles, and Bob Sir, who were incredible. Kristaps and AK, who were really good. Oh yeah, and Lamelo, Ja, AD, and Giannis. All crazy cards. As well as 75th AD, I think. And then we also got the rewards, get Jason Tatum. We got the playoff push on that same day. That playoff push gave us so many good cards. Like that pink diamond, DeAndre Ayton was a top 5 center in my team. Obviously, the best small forward in my team at that time was the Jason Tatum card. So that was a really, really cool thing for me anyway, was that they gave us really good free cards. And that was probably, in terms of pure content, that day was the best day. I think it was like the 22nd of January. All I know about that, it was the day before Leeds lost to Newcastle, and I was at that game. But that night, we knew that someone was going to very soon, once they completed the playoff push, someone was going to very soon get the first Gary Payton, and it was in fact B Street Bully. Junksta got him a few hours later, but B Street Bully was the first person this year to get a Dark Matter card in my team. I'm pretty sure B Street was also the first person to get Dirk as well. We then got a very, very disappointing flash drop. Some okay cards for budget players, and when I say okay, I mean okay, because like Lin was expensive, Odom was fine, Kukoc was fine, and like Embiid was good, and that Michael Jordan wasn't even good. We then on the Tuesday got the Lunar New Year packs. Some of the most disappointing players I've ever seen, but we did get a really cool moment of the month drop because Devin Booker was very good, Jaren Jackson was really good, Gary Trent I found was a very good player, mainly because I didn't mind base 16, and then some other guys like Jared Vanderbilt was okay, Io DeSumo was good, and some of these rubies like Kennard were good. Then we got obviously the Lunar New Year packs, the Hunt for Glory packs, and Yijian Lian was pretty good, but Wang Zhiji was the guy we all thought was going to be God because of how much his Ruby is a God, and they basically made his pink diamond a copy and paste with Ruby. Stroman Swift was actually pretty good. Then they decided to give us guaranteed Dark Matter packs that you could choose. This was the coolest thing ever. It was like Lonzo, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Derrick Rose, Jalen Rose, and I can't even remember who the final player was. And James Harden, that was who it was. But you had a choice of all of them, and as long as you didn't choose Anthony Edwards, realistically, or Cat, I'm sorry Timberwolves fans, you were getting one of the best cards in the game. Cat wasn't even that bad. Anthony Edwards was just very weak because he had base dribble style. But then 2K basically just stopped. 2K stopped at the start of the season giving us NBA 75 cards. So there was like 8 to go. And it was like 3.5 months after they started it. And they'd given us like 4 in the previous 5 weeks. So it was really confusing as to what they were doing. Obviously, they were stalling it because they wanted to give us Dark Matters, but it was just really badly timed. I thought they released way too many in Season 3. They released not enough in Season 4. It was just a really weird situation. It just went on for way too long, in my opinion. And then 2K accidentally leaked that there was going to be Dark Matters coming for All-Star Weekend. So this pack just showed up for some people. Obviously, there was no Dark Matters in that pack. And, like, I don't even know what this pack exactly was. A Flash 5 Deluxe. Well, it was a Flash 5 Deluxe pack. I don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, that pack just showed up randomly. And it had a description for Dark Matters. We found out we're going to be getting 3 Dark Matters, which was kind of crazy. So, obviously, whichever the next drop or batch of packs were going to be, batch of cards, people weren't going to be too hyped unless they were something big. And I'm not going to lie, they were something big. Like, obviously, now looking back on it, this wasn't crazy, but this was our first time getting point guard Simmons. And he could kind of shoot, especially in this game where everyone could shoot. Derek Anderson with his Evo, a beast. Kevin Porter Jr. with his Evo, a beast. Wilt Chamberlain's 75th card badged up, a beast. Splash even started the dude in 250. Paul George with his Evo, a beast. Thurl Bailey with his Evo, absolutely insane. So these cards, other than like Quentin Richardson, who really sucked, They were all really good in my opinion. And then for the third year in a row, at least one player was an WNBA player. So Josh Hart, again, Josh Hart had the Trey Murphy SIGs, which were horrendous, and then he also was a WNBA player, which was not good. Celebrity cards were in the game, something I thought was really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this concept was cool. Like, we've already got our 99 speed, 99 everything tackle fall. It's not that unrealistic to see Ronnie 2K in the game when we already have that. I thought they were going to give us celebrity cards, they were going to give us WNBA players, but no, they fumbled the bag so badly with this, because if you guys can see, if you try to play a game, one of the players can't play a multiplayer. There should never be a card that can't play a multiplayer. Like, they didn't let us use these celebrities, or they didn't let us use our My Players. This is the first year they did it. It made no sense. Then they announced the first Dark Matter cards, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, and Russell Westbrook. And my god, that's the backlash when these cards came out was crazy. All three of them came with normal timing on their release, which is kind of nuts. And then that same day, they ended up coming out with the Evo cards for the All-Star agendas. I didn't like them very much. None of these cards were very good. You get like a Larry Bird. If you Evo these cards, you get other players. But you get a Larry Bird, Dominique, and Blake, none of which were good. When you got higher up in the tiers, the cards were very weak. All-Star Moments cards came out, and again, Hat was a copy and paste of another card we had. Kate Cunningham was a scrub. Jay Sean Tate was a 6'4 power forward. Precious Achua was an undersized power forward center. Obi Toppin was meh. Darius Garland was 6'1. Steph Curry was a copy paste of a card we had. Mobley was alright, but the rest of these were just very, very disappointing. In general, I thought this was a very disappointing drop. Then they announced the NBA 75 lock-in awards for the 1990s and the 2000s. It was very obvious Dwight was going to win the 2000, or sorry, 1990s, 2010 and 2000s. And then we started the Vote Zion trolls. Basically, Klay Thompson was going to be a freaking demon no matter what, and we didn't know whether 2K were going to update Zion 6. My thing was, if they updated 6, we were going to get a God tier Zion, and if they didn't update 6, we were going to get a bum Zion and screw over the all money spent players. The Vote Zion nearly won. It nearly won. So coming into Season 5, we got the Paolo Banchero Duke card, expecting a lot more college cards. We didn't. They promised a lot of Dark Matters, and in general, the blog read pretty well. Like, we had a new Domination. We had a Dark Matter level 40 reward, which again was going to be pretty nice. It was going to be Ray Allen. We got, again, more and more Dark Matters in packs. They said the NBA 75 collection was going to be done. So we got an awful lot of just really decent news from that dev blog. However, towards the end of the season, I do think Season 5 kind of faltered. But, I think it was pretty okay. It was pretty okay to start off. However, these awards weren't great. Other than, Cincy Powell, the camp was meh. Boogie was meh. Boogie's really good for his time. Obviously, by the end of the season, he was pretty meh. Ray Allen, again, was good for his time, by the end of the season, meh. And the rest of them, Carmelo and stuff, were collection awards. However, this pack was ridiculous. Kawhi was a beast. Shaq was big. Splash used him 250. If you could get away with non-shooting centers, Shaq was just a huge body. Cade was the best point guard in the game, and it was not even close. He was the best by so much. I would have Cade as one of the most iconic players in the game if it wasn't for another point guard that came out literally 1 week later. But you also got the cheap cards. You got Bonga, you got Lance, you got Pau Gasol, who was 7k. You got Bull, who was a freaking beast. And then also we got this dude right here, one of the best cards in the game. And he was 30k MT or something when he came out, which was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. I couldn't believe how cheap this card was. He was a brilliant player. Scottie could handle, he could shoot. There were no flaws at all with Scottie Pippen. And then for Domination, we got Paul Millsap, who really sucked. And I mean, really, really sucked. And then we also got De'Aaron Fox for completing Dom. He was needed to get Vince, but also De'Aaron Fox really sucked. I'm sorry, I know people don't want to hear it, but De'Aaron really, really sucked. Really sucked. We actually got a pretty okay exchange reward, to be honest. Because City Market was cheap, if you already had the Bucks players needed, they went up to 4 or 5k MT. If you already had the Bucks players when they were 800 MT, you actually got a pretty good card in Sidney Moncrief. He was a top 8 or 9 point guard in the game when he came out. And for some reason, 2K brought out coaches, and people were paying 200k MT for plus 6 coaches. It was mad. you were getting like a +6 perimeter center coach for 200 KMT, whereas a +5 one was like 40 KMT, or a +4 one was like 3 KMT. It was mental. And then when you went to like the Galaxy Opals, you were paying over $1 million for Don Nelson. Look, Don was good, but he didn't even give a 3-point boost to your centers. Like, freaking, he wasn't even the best coach in the game. It was whoever the 3-point coach was for Galaxy Opal. Again, I haven't used the Galaxy Opal coach, so I don't know. But like, people were paying literally more than any player in the game for Don Nelson. And it really was not that significant an upgrade over using like a Steph Curry or a Monty Williams, who was like 35k at that stage. So the first person to get the level 40 Ray Allen this season was Evan Tanaka. And this card here was, again, he was one of those players that was really good when he came out. Like, Kenny Zeus ran him in 250. He was really good. It's just right after he came out, he became outclassed really quick. The people forgot how good he was. If you, like, he was a top 2 shooting guard in the game, top 3 maybe at worst, when the day he came out, just because of how good his release was, how easy it was to move with the guy, and just, well, how much he was just able to cook. Obviously, he became much better with the Evo later on in the year, but it was just funny is that, like, in the next week, we got 2-3 of the best shooting guards in the game. Like, the only ones you could really argue on his level were, like, freaking Kawhi and Scotty, who were different players. Then we got Clay, who was probably a little bit better than Ray Allen. We got Clay and Dwight Howard. I can't believe this was the last version of Dwight Howard we got, and it was the 1st of March. Man, disrespected by the NBA with a 75th card, or with not getting into 75, and also disrespected by 2K not getting a card after March. And then for the second community vote, which was 1980s and 1990s, bots took over. Like, Cedric Maxwell at one stage had 80% of the votes or something, and then suddenly he had 30%, and Thurl Bailey gained like 80,000 or gained like 40,000 votes in one night. It was just crazy. And then Cedric Maxwell got vote botted again, and the same thing happened with the 90s. Mullen got vote botted last minute, and even though Mullen ended up well, nobody really wanted him. So we got the maybe greatest drop of the year. We got maybe the greatest drop because it came with some decent budget players, a god tier player, and I mean god tier player in David Robinson, but also Luka.
Literally just shoot the ball with him. Not really. I can push him to the wing and he just greens. Like just shoot the ball with him. That's another green for Luka. You just need a tiniest. You don't even need a tiny bit of space. You need that type of space and it's green. Like, if you end up getting a yellow contest, just know most of the time you will be able to hit that shot. Like, Luka's a joke. Like, what is this? I'm literally just pressing the shoot button. Of course he misses that one. Of course he misses that one of all of them. That's the one he's going to miss. Walk it down, walk it down, walk it down. Literally, I'm playing 2K21 right now. I'm playing 2K21. I'm just shooting. I mean, I guess. I guess.
Luka Doncic was the most broken player we had ever seen in a MyTEAM game. Like, I could not believe, I still can't believe looking at that game. This is my first ever game using Luka, and it was just green heavy after green heavy after green heavy. Like, nobody could even defend Luka. At least as the years went on, better defenders came out, but like at that time, you literally just shot them on people's face and it would go in. Like, Luka Doncic was so good that there was a 43 hot badge. And this isn't even like a 50, 60 hot badge. It's a 43 hot badge going for 6.6 million. This is coming up towards 250, and people are really trying to get their hoffed up Luka Doncic cards. A lot of really, really great cards. And yeah, this card went for like 7.5 million in the end. The 250k tournaments happened on the current gen side, Splash 1, on the next gen side on PS4, Definitive 1. On the current gen side on Xbox, the winner was Swaggy, and on the current gen Xbox, it was just crazy. So first round, So is facing off against some guy, and he's up by like 30 points with 2 minutes to go, and he gets booted offline, and he gets kicked out of the tournament because he got booted offline up 30 with 2 minutes to go. Not great. And then the Ty Debo situation happened. So Ty ends up getting locked out of his Xbox account, and there's like no alternative. The way the rules are, they then kick him out of the current gen competition. They delay his next gen game, so he ends up getting in and winning the next gen tournament after being down like 20 something points on I think he was 25 points down in the very first game against AOT Trey. And I've always said this, that I think Ty would have won. Had Ty made it to the final on current gen, I think Ty would have won. And also I think that if he had a won on current gen, he would not have come back down 25 points in AOT Trey game. but it was crazy seeing Ty and Splash winning on the consoles that they were probably least favored in. It was also during this weekend that the great Dunktober Jokic was discovered. During the stream, 10 or 8,000 people or something watching my stream, everyone just spamming Dunktober Jokic. The great Dunktober Jokic was found this weekend. Then on the Tuesday, we ended up getting the reward Cedric Maxwell. We also got Moments of the Month, which was kind of cool because like Ja was good and some other cards were good. And it was our first like the free Dark Matter. But Seti was really the prize of this day. The base 3, 6'8", 2 guard with 7'1" wingspan. You better believe all 4 finalists for 250k were out here running Cedric Maxwell. The guy was a freaking demon. He was a freaking demon, lads. Then we got Maxed Out 2. After Maxed Out 1 being the worst set of the year, we feared. We did have some fear, but Maxed Out 2 was a pretty good set. Again, Reddish and RJ Barrett were in basically every budget squad for at least a month. The Rubies were terrible, but I mean, every other card was okay. And well, Magic kind of sucked, but I didn't mind that set too much. Then we got introduced to the best 2K player to ever play. Forget Ty, forget Splash. Trent played them before and he beat them. The greatest 2K player to ever play. He would play you and he beat you and he would let you know. No matter who you were, Trent played everybody and he beat them. And he would let everyone, and I repeat, everyone know that he played them before and he beat them. And as well as that, Trent also had a podcaster. He had a podcaster. However, the joke kind of died when he actually went on a Twitter space and it was like a 25-year-old man. It made it even funnier at the time, but I mean, it was the meme died with that. Once his voice was heard, the meme died. And then, St. Patrick's Day, lads.
St. Patrick's Day. Pat Burke locker code.
What a freaking day St. Patrick's Day was. I was so happy. They finally released Pat Burke. Like, I used to literally get angry when they would release random Celtics players and be like, oh, it's for Ireland, and then proceed to call it St. Patty's Day. But no, this is the first year we got Pat Burke. I had so many people being like, oh, you got 2K Pat Burke. It was not me. I would love to take credit for that. I'll take credit for Dunktober Jokic. I'll take credit for Moments of the Month. I know exactly the person that got us Pat Burke, and I thanked that person so much on that day. It was so cool. Pat Burke was a player that, like, there was no you couldn't really watch NBA in Ireland, so the only real basketball I was able to watch is when the national team were on TV, and I thought that Pat Burke was like Michael Jordan. He was like Michael Jordan watching him play for the Irish national team. Like, the only basketball I watched when I was that age was like Irish National League basketball, which is like second tier in Ireland at my local club, and then seeing Pat Burke playing for our national team out there as a legit NBA player, I genuinely thought he was like the best player in the world. Then the next day we got the Campus Legends, or not Campus Legends, Bracket Busters. I didn't find this to be a particularly good job. Wade was good, and Noah had heart. Like, Noah really had heart. Ferry was alright. Hansbrough was okay, but I mean, Noah definitely had a lot of heart. He was a beast. Then for the 250k final, so Splash ended up beating Swaggy 2-0 in what was a closer series than it seemed. Game 2 was really close. Swaggy had a big lead. Splash then just hit everything to come back and win. Splash won and avenged himself from last year. And he also won on the gen that he was least favored on, which was kind of crazy that, again, Ty and Splash won on the opposite gens. And then a really annoying thing was that, like, literally Definitive lost the game because of a disconnect, because of a power outage. I still think Ty probably wins game 2, but still, that's not, like, that put him in no position to play game 3. Ty already had the momentum. Once the power came back, Ty was ready, and Ty pulled it out in game 3. Either way, at least with the way the 250k tournaments run, if you make the final, you're still making 50k. So yeah, obviously 200k is a lot better than 50, but 50k is also a year's salary for the vast majority of people. So congrats to all 4 players. Congrats to all 4. Then they went and released the spotlights the next week, and I'm not gonna lie, this was kind of disappointing because it just didn't feel like a spotlight. It was able to be completed in 3 hours. It didn't feel like Spotlight Sims. The challenges for the individual player, you had to like do challenges with individual players to get more players, and that just wasn't the way Spotlights used to be. The Spotlights used to be a bunch of cards at the same tiers. You could choose which ones you grind for, and then you'd lock in for bigger tier players. Whereas you had to like go, you could get like a freaking, well, you had to do tier by tier, but it just didn't have the same feel. I don't know how to describe it, but these cards weren't even that bad. Like Salim was pretty good. It just did not have the same feel, to be completely honest. Then 2K went out and gave some people some Dark Matters or some Pink Diamonds for free, and then they also gave them a potential free Nikola Jokic. So basically, if you have been playing MyTEAM in other years and you stopped playing it, 2K gave you a bunch of free cards. And a lot of people got really angry at this, but these cards sucked. Like, am I the only one that like had any like sense with that? Like, these cards sucked. So I don't even mind. Like, all that it did was when you ever saw a lineup and you saw any of these cards in, you knew it was a beginner player. All it did was like make it show who was a bot and who wasn't to use these cards. So you could literally get like rubies better than all of these. They were all terrible. Out of Position then came out, which was kind of a nut set, if we're being honest. Out of Position had some really nice players. Like Ben Wallace was good. Jimmy Butler was really good as a TTO player. DeRozan was okay. Giannis was pretty nice. But the one card really, a lot of decent cards. The one card though that completely took over was this Michael Jordan. He was like the Luka for current gen, as well as being the second best player on next gen. He was so damn good. And until June, it was him and Luka in the 1A, 1B for the best players in this game. Jordan was so good. I still run this Jordan in my squad. And then 2K, once the 75th stopped being in the game, 2K literally just started releasing super packs on Tuesdays as their content. So season 5, from about halfway through, was literally Friday drop, once every 3 weeks, some sort of a grind. In the last 4 weeks, it was just Friday drops, super packs, and the one spotlight grind. So I think season 5 ended terribly. I think it ended terribly. Like, they did go and give us a Dark Matter token reward, Thurl Bailey, which was completely bait. Thank God we got Seti instead of this guy. Actually, to be fair, I had the tokens to get Thurl. Imagine if I would have been much happier getting Thurl in the token, or Seti in the token market. But like, this Thurl really was not good. He really was not a good card. And then obviously they came out with Dikembe a bit later. One thing I did like though to end season 5 was the Metamorphosis set. Basically a set where a bunch of guys that had really like mediocre, if not terrible, SIGs or jump shots, got them all updated. Like Manu went and got a better jumper. Zion Williamson went from Zion base, which was unusable, to base 3, which was incredible. We had Trey Murphy, and then 2 guys with Trey Murphy SIGs in Rudy Fernandez and Brandon Jennings with better SIGs. I just thought it was a really cool concept, and I wish they did more of it later on in the year. Then we also got Vince Carter. I think Vince Carter was a really good card for his time. I think it was probably, maybe it was worth doing, because the Weber card we got at the end was not easy to go and get him. Well, it did take quite a bit of time. I think it's one of those situations with Carter where if you did it, you're not going to regret it, because he was one of the best small forwards in the game. But if you didn't get Vince Carter, I don't think you regret it either. So season 6 launched with a dev blog, and it was kind of an interesting one. First of all, the Josh Giddey level 40. I thought it was cool. Like, I think everyone predicted it was going to be a tall point guard based on the trend they'd been going. I predicted Lamelo, and it ended up being Josh Giddey. So playoff moments agendas were cool. Like, it made sense then why they just stopped moments of the month. They just didn't have moments of the month for April. But in general, I was most excited about this part. Literally saying we were going to be getting a reward every day. I didn't even care if they were golds. I really didn't. I was just happy to be getting something every single day. And I knew once I went to Amethyst Diamond, we'd get something cool. Even though, funnily enough, the golds were better than the Amethyst and Diamonds. But as far as the rewards went, like, the RNG rewards were good again. Like, Silas was good. Albert King was really good. Worthy wasn't great. Matt Calvin wasn't great. But we ended up getting Giddey, who was nice, and Bob Nedelicki. Bob Nedelicki was the second best unlimited reward this year after Gary Payton. He was the first Set Shot 25 player, and he was actually the first Set Shot 25 player until Endgame. The only non-Endgame Set Shot 25 player in this entire game. Zero Gravity was a decent set, while Blake was a damn beast for his time. He got outdated fast. Zach LaVine still can be used to this day. Paul George is not great. But the budget guys were so nice, because these were like the cheapest opals as well. Like, these opals went down to like 15k, and David Thompson was 8k MT, so they were super cheap. And then Josh Smith was just like a 5k MT god when he came out. And how can we forget, lads? How can we forget the GOAT of this day? The GOAT of day 1 of season 6, lads. Rondo is him. They then came out with equal chance packs. Obviously Takeoff Rose wasn't the first one, but this was something I really liked. Again, I can't wait for packs to be banned in games, but I think this is the most consumer-friendly way you can do packs. Then Himothy came out. Lads, Himothy was so good that I recorded videos about this guy while still off my head on whatever medication I was on during surgery. This was the day I got my Achilles surgery, and I was off my head on whatever the medication was, talking about Himothy. The next day, the auction house completely broke, and I still wasn't fully like there. I wasn't fully there in terms of coming down after surgery, but basically what ended up happening with the auction house was no new cards were showing. So you were seeing like the like most recent card that was in it would be like 2 hours, then be a huge gap. So cards went so expensive. Anyone who wanted to buy a card, there was like none of them on the market. And after at one stage there was no card in the game that was under 1,000 MT that was still on the auction house, which was crazy. Then that night they announced the greatest card in MyTEAM history. While I'm not taking credit for Pat Burke, the guy who was the reason we got Pat Burke knows who he is, I am fully taking credit for Dunktober Jokic, lads. D-Bed G. It was so good it almost forced D-Bed G to get out of bed. That's how hyped I was on Dunktober Jokic. And then the fan favorites packs came out. This might be the most disappointing fan favorite set we've ever seen. Like, Thon was good. Isaac was fine. Sim was not great. I didn't like Caruso very much. Didn't like Winslow. Kazi was a beast, and Porzingis was only okay. Kevin Durant was pretty good, but he was super expensive. But yeah, other than Dunktober Jokic hype, I just wasn't the biggest fan of this set of cards. Then we also got a really good, and I mean really good Easter packs. So we got like a bunch of packs for Easter where you could end up getting like Easter eggs. And it was like remember what we had at Christmas with the candy canes and presents? It was like that, but way more like refined, and it actually worked well. A lot of people made a lot of MT, and a lot of people got a lot of really good things out of those Easter packs. I grinded the heck out of the game because again I was trapped in bed, I couldn't really do anything else, and I made so much MT off those Easter packs, it was crazy. Then on the Saturday, for some reason, they ended up giving us the playoff play-in agendas for like Trae Young and those guys. It was very weird that it happened on a Saturday, like just randomly on. It was just dropped at a random time on a Saturday. It didn't drop on the Monday like it did all the others, and this was the only playoff agendas to drop on a Saturday. This was the only content all year to drop on a Saturday. It was very weird. And then we got Shengo. For some reason, 2K gave us an Emerald Center with base 3. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. They gave us an Emerald Center base 3. Like, had 2K given us in like Season 7 a Dark Matter Şengün, one of the best power forward in the game. Then we got the guaranteed Dark Matter pack. So it was like Jimmy Butler, Carmelo Anthony, Damian Lillard, and Chris Bosh. Obviously, not the greatest cards in the world, but it was the first time you could actually choose your free Dark Matter, which I thought was really cool. I actually bought Melo, which I really shouldn't have at the end of the day. But then we got these packs right here, the glitch packs. And I, crazily enough, called these endgame glitch packs. Little did I know what was coming. If it was only Invincibles, yeah, you could say these cards are usable in endgame. Little did I know what storm was coming. But Dirk Nowitzki also was out today. I'm pretty sure B Street was the first player to get him. If B Street, Junks, and Manny, I know were the first three. And yeah, Dirk was not great. Like, Dirk really was not a great card. Like, he held his own. He was a fine player. I'm not going to say he did anything particularly well. But the one thing I will say is that Dirk was not the prize. The real prize was the 80 Hoff badges. Because Junksta went and put up his Ben Simmons holo first. He ended up getting 18.3 million for him. And people thought, okay, it was a 78 Hoff badge. Ben Simmons, there's no way any card overtakes that. Well, Manny's got 21 million. Manny got 21 million for his Michael Jordan. And for some reason, the second Michael Jordan that went up in the auction house sold for 25 million. 25 million, lads. Absolutely nuts. Just absolutely nuts. Then we get the first batch of actual playoff moments cards. And we also got Vinny, who just had God tier 6. But in this batch, we actually only expected one Dark Matter. We ended up getting 4. Mikal Bridges was good. Marcus Smart was good. Desmond Bain was good. The rest of the cards, in my opinion, were very weak. This was probably the weakest of the playoff batches. I didn't even think the play-in ones over this, to be honest. We also got Invincible Shaq, who we thought was going to be the best player in the game, because we saw he had like quick, he had Kobe escape. We thought he was going to be God in this game. But thankfully for us, Shaq still had stamina issues, and Shaq also just couldn't move well. And this is when we realized no matter what SIGs and stats they give to a big man, they're never really going to be able to move like a little guy in this game. Then we also, towards the end, got a Julius Randle in the road to the 99 overall card. And he was so terrible, they had to update his badges. He was so terrible, they had to give him like 7 extra Hall of Fame badges when he first was released. The uproar was so big with that card that he ended up having to be upgraded. Then we finally got a fun card in this game. We got Stevie Francis. So Steve Francis had his own size up, and he was like the first decent player other than Rose to have a good size up. And then 2K went and gave us one of the best cards in the game for free. A card that is still to this day more than usable. They gave us the free Dark Matter Richard Jefferson. And I remember the way we were all like super hyped about, we were genuinely super hyped about the Steve Francis because of how he moved. However, Richard Jefferson just has the same dribble 6. They gave him Steve Francis dribble 6. So they were like, we were super hyped at Steve Francis. Then they basically gave us a 6'7", better defensively, bigger, stronger, better jump shot Steve Francis. Like, Jefferson was still, and still is to this day, unbelievable. He's unreal. And we have these signature packs. Honestly, probably most overrated packs in the game. Wilt was alright. Lamelo was meh. We also got the first time we could choose our limited reward. The 5 reward Dark Matters were the 5 limited reward players, and unless he chose, Fultz wasn't even that good, and Fultz was like so much better than the rest. It was unbelievable. But yeah, just kind of an okay way to end Season 6. Not a great way, not a bad way either. And then we also got one last playoff batch of cards. Jimmy Butler was good. I mean, Finney Smith was meh. Dinwiddie was meh. I mean, other than Jimmy, there's no one really that great, to be completely honest. It was pretty much just Jimmy. Now into Season 7, and the dev blog again was just kind of more of just saying the rewards. We ended up getting a nice, like, fearless batch of cards. We also, in terms of rewards, level 40 was okay in Anthony Edwards. Fernando Martin was the prize. He was the card everyone wanted. So clutch time became hell. It became hell. Then going into like Season 7, these packs were alright. Like, Ferry was good. It also pushed the price of Dark Matters. So no Dark Matters were under 100k. And by the end of these specific packs, Dark Matters were like 70k, which was really cool for just being able to get Dark Matters in your team. Then we also got Z3PO. We got the Quickie Mart Zion, lads. We got the Yellow Arm Zion. I don't know who thought this card art was a good idea, but this was the card that every bot ran for the entirety of Season 7. Every new player ran this card, and he was awful. He was awful. Then Swish Packs came out. Swish Packs came out, and they were very, very interesting because I was just kind of confused, and I'm like, what are these cards? Because obviously, Payton is an out of position card. So is Nate. So is Siakam. Nate Thurman was a glitch card, and I didn't understand what the other, and so was Redick, sorry, and I didn't understand what the other two were. Obviously, we had Hero, Steph, and Curry. And these had equal chance packs as well, except these gave you a 60% chance of getting a Dark Matter, which again was really cool. On the very, very first one that I opened on my account, I went and got myself a Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry, while messing around on my green screen and put myself in Mizkif's background, we went and got ourselves a Stephen Curry. And then there was also a locker code for the like Del Curry, for the Seth Curry. So if you got either of the corners, you were able to get these cards, which I did think was kind of a cool concept. Then on Wednesdays, we got our first exchange reward. 15 TT online games, 30 TT offline games, and you got a free Dark Matter, which again was really cool. So about 3 hours of playing over a week. These updated every week. Drew Holiday was a beast. Malik Sealy was a beast. Bob McAdoo was really good. The only one I didn't think was good, Dennis Johnson wasn't good, but Horace Grant was really good. So all of them except Dennis Johnson were genuinely really good players. They were really good players, and a lot of people just got them naturally playing the game, which was cool as well. Then we ended up getting the mural for Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid might be the most disappointing card in all of my team. I got the guy, he wasn't very good. We got a lot of free Dark Matters, a lot of free Galaxy Opals, and these weren't too bad. The only thing I didn't like about these challenges were that they just added domination on the end. They were like, okay, they weren't bad. I was cool with the difficult challenges. And then for some reason they added on a domination at the end, meaning that like the people that weren't good enough to beat the challenges couldn't get the cards, or the people that didn't want to sit through Dom couldn't get the cards. So this definitely was not Gauntlets from 2K21. As much as they want to think it was not Gauntlets 2K21. Then Unfazed came out that same day. Well, the same day Unfazed announced. Luka Doncic, Kawhi, Michael Jordan, Rudy Gay, and even if you go down to the Opals, Eddie Jones, Drazen Petrovic, Popeye the Chicken Man, a ridiculous batch of cards, lads. Absolutely ridiculous batch of cards. And then we have got the new Swish pack. Obviously, there's gonna be videos of Ty for whatever content came out this week, because this was literally the day I thought I was about to die in hospital. I remember very, very vividly seeing the notification on my phone about Swish cards and not being fearing for my damn life. But then Gamma came out, Bol, Thon Maker. Like, Gamma should have been a really good set, but at the end of the day, Gerald Wallace was by far the best player in Gamma. Bol wasn't very good. Thon was okay. These hero cards were okay. Even D-Rob was disappointing. And so was Mikhail. It was just a disappointing set, in my opinion. Troydan then went and opened $3,000 worth of these packs. Yes, he opened $3,000 on stream. And this just kind of showed, again, like Troydan opened like $3,000 in these packs. He's opened, I think it took him $9,000 before he got an endgame card. He opened $3K this day without getting a single invincible card. He only got like 2 Bulls as well in $3,000, which was crazy. It was just Mo Bamba and Thon Maker basically every pack time he saw a Dark Matter. Then 2K went and gave us guaranteed Dark Matter packs. However, there was about 40 Dark Matters in the game at this stage, at least 40 Dark Matters. And guess how many Dark Matters it was possible to pull in these packs? 7. 7 total. Out of the 40, you could only pull 7, and they were the 7 worst Dark Matters in the game. An absolute farce. Every time 2K do this, I hate when they do it, but they just always do. Then 2K added some Evo cards into the game. 2K had done this previously in the season, but like this batch was really, really cool. I really liked when 2K just randomly added Evos, when 2K randomly added Duos. They did it in Season 7 and decided, nah, screw it, we're not going to do it in Season 8. Which would have been nice to have seen anyway. And we got the Endgame Magic. So 2K announced that Endgame Magic was going to have the best SIGs. And I was talking, and I was like, oh no, these cards can't be that different than Invincible. The only way that these cards are going to be that different than Invincible is if, because I assume when he said best SIGs, they were going to just give him like D-Rose or Stevie Francis and like either Curry Slide or Trey Escape, something like that. I didn't think that they were going to give every single one a base tier set shot 25. And I genuinely said that on Twitter. I was like, unless they give every single player base tier set shot 25, they're not going to be that different than like most of the Invincibles. But no, they gave literally all the endgames base 3 or set shot 25. Like, we did not know what to expect when it came to this endgame Magic Johnson right here. Because again, we knew that endgame Dirk was coming at this stage. We genuinely were hopeful. I didn't like the endgame concept as soon as it was announced, because again, once I saw that the first 3 cards all either had base 3 or set 25, and they all dribbled the exact same, I was kind of worried. But funnily enough, those guys with Stevie Francis size up, they are the only endgames with Stevie Francis size up in this entire game, which is kind of mad. So then the Origin packs came out. Origin packs had a few not great Invincibles. They had the Gatekeeper, which is Bill Russell hero card. They also had Dirk Nowitzki, who if you had the other Dirk, you got this Dirk, which was a great reward, to be honest. And we also got our free Steph Curry that day. And they also gave us Bo Cruz, which was interesting. Obviously, Bo Cruz kind of sucked because his player build was awful. But they did give us a Bo Cruz that we could grind for in TTO boards and TTO vaults. But they decided to never put them on the board or vault. I somehow got him in a wheel spin. Don't know how to this day. And then that day I decided to complete the playoff agendas, and it was a regret doing them, because I thought they were going to give us like 5 Golden State Warriors players, but no, they just gave us an Invincible Steph Curry, and this was the last version of Steph Curry we got. We didn't get an endgame Steph. I still don't believe that. And then they also put guaranteed equal chance packs in the auction house, or in the market for some people. It's only showed up for some people, but like if you could have an equal chance hero pack, everyone would have bought it, but not everyone got the chance to buy them. Next packs this year were Dark Matters with a 25% chance of Dark Matter, whereas last year we saw some Opals. This year was better because it was only Dark Matters. We also got a couple of Invincibles, and we got Endgame Scotty Barnes. Season 8 Dev Blog. When I was reading through this, I was reading through all the rewards and noticed that they didn't mention anything about actually grinding the game past day 1. So I was in fear. I was in severe fear that we were going to get absolutely nothing from this season. And then one of the journalists who got the original copy of this devlog said that there was originally something about agendas, and 2K took it out, which made me fear even more. So they ended up, to start off this, we knew Kobe Bryant was coming, so this wasn't a surprise to see Endgame Kobe. I don't think anyone was really shocked to see that, because they did mention it in the devlog. But what everyone was shocked to see was the fact that there were 5 Dark Matter Shaqs. Everyone was very confused at what this was. Like, when we read the devlog, they said over a dozen Dark Matter Kobe's and Shaqs. Everyone's like, okay, maybe it'll be just like sprinkling them in throughout the season. Maybe it's a typo. No, we got 5 Dark Matter Shaqs. And some people thought, okay, maybe it's 5 Dark Matter Shaqs and 1 Kobe and some other cards. No, it was Kobe and Shaq. So people were very confused at this, including myself. I did not really like the idea. The idea wasn't the worst in the end of the day, but still, doing this for a whole season did not bode well for it being a good season. So many people were so just confused about Kobe's and Shaq's that they didn't really care that much about the rewards. And the rewards were fine. The only thing is though, is that like they were the only end games that didn't really have end game SIGs, which is kind of a bit disappointing. Like, James Harden was the first one that I got on my own account. I got him quite early. But James Harden was just beating a domination. He was fine. I'm not going to say he was this god tier card. He was perfectly fine in this game. Nothing wrong with the guy. He could play. He was fine. Then we also got endgame point guard Jokic. A very slow release. If they gave him a better release, he would have been a better player. And it's not even me saying, oh, he needed base tier set to 25. The issue is that Ray Allen on a big man is slow. If they had given him base 110 like they gave Chris Webber, I still think he would have been an absolute beast of a card. And Webber was pretty nice as well, if we're being honest. Webber was a pretty nice card. And then we also had the weekend of locker codes, where there was like random missing letters in some of them. If you didn't have your blue stacks, you were screwed. I got a LeBron from using the letter B as his letter. But this was the weekend where V is for levels, and levels meme became a thing. Like, these locker codes were just, oh man, it was sitting 10 hours for nothing. Was annoying. Then we got Lamelo and Carmelo. This is when people were still kind of a little bit hyped. And at this stage, this idea started growing on me, because I was like, you know what, I actually do like these 2 player packs. I just wish we had a little bit more throughout the week, which was kind of, again, disappointing. Because we did get Season 8 cards as well, but they weren't great. Then the Thursday, so 2 days afterwards, we ended up getting a Devin Booker card. So Devin Booker came out, and I thought that this card was going to be the first of the weekly Thursday locker codes. So I expected every Thursday to be getting like a Kyrie or one of those guys type code, but I was wrong. Then we got Yao and Giannis. And like, for Yao and Giannis to be coming when they did on the 8th of July, 1 week after the launch of the season, you're thinking there's no way 2K can outdo this. There is no way 2K can outdo this. They've screwed themselves. There is absolutely no way they can outdo this. But not even a week later, we got Taco. There's definitely no way they can outdo Taco. So we were expecting like freaking Bol, Manute Bol, all of these cards in these endgame packs, but no, 2K went back to realism. They definitely didn't outdo this. They went back to some of the best players ever. Like, we got T-Mac, we got Kawhi, guys like that, and not even an MJ Braun drop could really hype people up, mainly because Michael Jordan already had a really, really cheap point guard card who everybody knew was a really good card and was basically the same as all the others, and then we all knew LeBron cards at an endgame kind of sucked, so there was no real hype in general. And then 2K released the Luka Doncic and Kareem packs, and they made all the Luka Doncic and Kareem cards have the Trey Murphy SIGs. And these are the specific Trey Murphy SIGs. If you're wondering, it's like base 67 on normal timing, normal leaner, big dribble style, all the big man dunks. And everyone's like, oh no, they're going to fix this, they're going to fix this, they're going to fix this, it's going to be fine. But no, Luka Doncic couldn't even move. He was tripping over his own feet while he was dribbling. He didn't even have his own release. He didn't even have the set shot 25. He just had nothing. He was an absolute bona fide scrub. He was a 99 overall day one Trey Murphy, which was extremely disappointing that they didn't change it. It took me making a video for 2K to change it. Until I made the video hours later, nothing. And then 2K just continued to troll us. Right after that, the final endgame batch. Was it going to be like a fan favorites batch like Manute Bol and Bol? No. Was it going to be a Steph Curry batch, a Jason Tatum batch? Was it going to be a huge batch of endgame cards just to end it all, and they could give us so many endgame cards we deserve? No, they chose to give us Magic Johnson. They chose to give us an endgame card we already had. And not only an endgame card we already had, an endgame card that couldn't run. Magic Johnson, there's something wrong with him in game. He is objectively broken. He literally can't run. He literally can't run. And 2K decided to give us a scrub who can't run instead of Steph Curry, instead of Jason Tatum, and even made him basically smile in the picture. Like, why is he smiling? 2K trolled the living crap out of us. And it wasn't even the biggest troll. So then the next day, I locked in for the option packs. I locked in for the endgame option packs. I ended up getting both of them. I spent a lot of MT on these sets, probably about $250,000 total. I didn't spend like the 400 or 500k some people did, but I should have sold the cards. So Giannis Antetokounmpo was a card that I ended up picking up, and I ended up getting him, and I ended up getting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I didn't get 2 really good cards, but I spent quite a bit of MT on these 2 cards. It wasn't like I got them for nothing. I spent quite a lot of MT. So then the next day, 2K decided to show us who they are giving us for the limited. 2K are giving us scrubs for limited, and 2K announced that these cards are coming the time the 2K were meant to announce content, which meant we were like, oh crap, are we actually getting no content? Was the last content drop on a damn Tuesday? And yeah, it turned out the last content drop was on a Tuesday. In Thursday, for preparation for something, the auction's bots were turned off. There used to be bots that would buy every Dark Matter at 8.3k and every Opal at 5.4k. They were turned off, and in the end, 2K released guaranteed endgame packs. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw guaranteed endgame packs coming, especially when we thought there's another Friday to go with the start of Season 9. There's another week of content. Like, these packs were pretty good. They made endgames very, very cheap, but again, 2K just went and trolled us the following Monday by letting us spend our tokens on a hero card. And a 1 in 7 chance of getting a card that's worth more than 15k. I'm not even kidding. The worst way to spend our tokens. This was one of our last hurrahs. This was one of our last hurrahs in content. This scrub pack for 750 tokens. So Season 9 was the biggest troll of all. Obviously Magic was a big troll. Obviously 2K making us lock in for the endgame cards before giving us guaranteed endgame packs was a troll. Obviously the Invincibles was a troll instead of giving us content. But the biggest troll was Season 9 being able to be purchased for 170k before Season 9. Giving us Invincibles. And not only that, it was 1,000 wins. 2,000 wins is the top reward. They made it so if you were playing TT offline, you needed 1,000 wins in order to get Vince Carter. Let me repeat, 1,000 wins for a card that's 50k. 1,000 wins. And it got even worse. 2K went and brought out these packs from previous seasons for 11,000 VC. 11,000 VC for Season 1 cards. VC only. Absolutely nuts. Made no sense whatsoever. And then, to rub salt in the wounds, an equal chance Invincible pack for 1,000 tokens. And guess what? There were no good Invincibles in the pack. It wasn't like this was Luka and Jordan and stuff. There were no good Invincibles. It was 1,000 tokens for 20k MT. And then, I don't know how they did it. Luka Doncic, endgame, who was the level 40 reward, in fact, was not an endgame card. And you might be saying, oh, he is an endgame card. Nope, he only had 65 Hall of Fame badges and didn't have any of the endgame 6. I don't know how they did it. But they literally made an endgame card, not an endgame. I don't know how they did it. Surely, they messed up copying and pasting. So anyway, that is the video. Overall this year, I found it a lot more boring than other years in my team. I feel like there was not as much wrong with the game. I think until Season 8, it didn't really have any major low points. Very boring in Season 3. There wasn't as much wrong with it. I think the highs were nowhere near as good. I don't think it did as much well as NBA 2K21 did. I think that Season 6 and Season 7 were really, really good. I think Season 8 is the worst season in the history of my team. And I think Season 9 is a slap in the face to everyone who has played the whole year. But overall, I do think that it was a pretty good year. I do think overall, I enjoyed the game mode. I think there were a lot of flaws. I think the game didn't launch well with the 100. I think a lot of the discussions and planning for the new game, they didn't really think about think in too much depth about how things can go wrong, which is why we ended up with a BS draft mode, which is why we ended up with 100. But I still think Season 6 and Season 7, if they take some of the things they did in those seasons, forget about the gimmicks like Season 8 with these double players. If they can forget more about the gimmicks and focus more on the content, I think we can have a really good year in NBA 2K23. So overall, I think this is probably... I'm going to say there was less wrong in 2K21 and 20, but I still think it's probably even the worst year of my team we've seen since 18. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.